Greenland, from frozen wasteland to the Singapore of the Arctic and the new battleground for global hegemony. If we re-examine the globe through the lens of a North Pole projection, a startling truth emerges. Greenland is no longer just a colossal, solitary island adrift in the desolate frost. Instead, it reveals itself as a pivotal strategic crown jewel, perfectly nested between the world's titans, the United States, Russia, and Europe. Its history is a saga that stretches from the indigenous Inuit to the bold Norse explorations of Erik the Red, a man clever enough to brand this icy expanse as Greenland, just to lure settlers to its frozen shores. Eventually, history wove Greenland into the Kingdom of Denmark as an autonomous territory, where it remained largely off the global radar until now. Deep beneath its miles-thick ice sheet, Greenland has transformed into strategic real estate that has tantalized U.S. presidents for generations. As far back as 1867, Secretary of State William Seward, the mastermind who bought Alaska from Russia, commissioned a report to analyze the worth of acquiring Greenland. In 1946, President Harry S. Truman took it a step further, offering $100 million in gold for the island. Most recently, Donald Trump's 2019 overture reignited a global firestorm, reframing the island's fate as the most significant land acquisition attempt of the 21st century. The ambition and the Arctic shift. The American ambition is no mere whim. It is backed by hard data from a climate crisis that is rapidly reshaping the face of the Arctic. According to the National Snow and Ice Data Center, NSIC, polar ice is melting at a rate far exceeding expectations. This thaw is unlocking the Northern Sea Route and the Northwest Passage, maritime shortcuts that can slash shipping times between Asia and Europe by a staggering 40% compared to the traditional slog through the Strait of Malacca and the Suez Canal. In this new world order, Greenland is poised to become the Singapore of the Arctic, a premier logistics hub and pit stop at the heart of these emerging sea lanes. Furthermore, the U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, estimates that Greenland sits atop a treasure trove of rare earth elements, oil, and natural gas. These are the lifeblood of high-tech industries and clean energy, the very sectors where China and the U.S. are currently locked in a fierce, high-stakes tug-of-war. A legacy of strategic resolve. The timeline of U.S. Arctic strategy reflects a long-standing commitment. It began in earnest in 1941, when the U.S. took Greenland under its protection following the Nazi occupation of Denmark. This led to the 1951 agreement to establish Patuxent, Thule Air Base, a site carved deep into the Arctic Circle that houses the Ballistic Missile Early Warning System, MUES, the most critical shield for detecting intercontinental missiles. Even during the George W. Bush era in 2004, agreements were modernized to enhance missile defense. Most recently, between 2018 and 2022, the U.S. utilized hard-nosed diplomacy to block Chinese state-owned enterprises from bidding on international airports in Greenland, culminating in the latest national strategy for the Arctic region, which reaffirms that Greenland is an inseparable component of North American security. The double-edged sword of the supply chain. In the realm of global supply chains, the opening of the Arctic route through Greenland is a formidable double-edged sword. While reports from Beijing Review 2025 suggest this route could help China rapidly export electric vehicles, EVs, and solar panels to Europe to vent its industrial overcapacity, Europe's stagnating economy might not provide the insatiable demand China hopes for. However, Greenland's true weight lies upstream. It holds the rare earth elements the West desperately craves to decouple from China. To control Greenland is to control the cost and the foundational technology of the future. Currently, strategic weight, 80%, vastly outshines economic weight, 20%. Owning Greenland means controlling the GIUK gap, Greenland-Iceland UK, the maritime tripwire that can bottle up Russian nuclear submarines before they ever reach the Atlantic. This is a matter of national survival, a value far exceeding short-term shipping profits, especially when the Ship Universe 2025 report warns that Arctic navigation still grapples with exorbitant insurance costs and a lack of support infrastructure. Implications for Thailand and ASEAN, the shifting center of gravity. When comparing the positions of Singapore and Greenland, we witness a concerning shift in the world's center of economic gravity. Today, Singapore is the indispensable choke point, reaping massive benefits from the sheer volume of trade passing through the Malacca Strait. But as the Arctic melts, Greenland emerges as the new gateway. Shipping from Shanghai to Rotterdam via Malacca covers 21,000 kilometers. Via the Northern Sea route, it drops to a mere 12,800 kilometers. That 8,000 kilometers difference isn't just about time. It's about massive fuel savings and bypassing the risks of piracy or Suez Canal congestion. For Thailand, this brings both formidable hurdles and golden opportunities. The primary risk is the potential dilution of the land bridge, Chumphon Ranong project. If Chinese megavessels opt for the Arctic shortcut to Europe, the demand for a Thai bypass may dwindle, threatening the project's break-even point. Additionally, we may see capital outflow as global powers pivot their infrastructure investments toward the Arctic, potentially siphoning attention away from ASEAN's special economic zones. Yet there is a silver lining. If Thailand adapts, the Arctic route could lower the cost of importing raw materials and rare earths from Greenland and Northern Europe, fueling Thailand's S-curve industries like EV battery production and high-end electronics. Moreover, easing the congestion in the Malacca Strait could enhance Thailand's food and energy security, reducing our reliance on a single, vulnerable corridor that could be easily blockaded in a South China Sea conflict. The geopolitical hostage crisis. In the shadow of war, both Singapore and Greenland stand as geopolitical hostages, albeit in different ways. Singapore faces the threat of commercial paralysis from traditional naval blockades, while Greenland faces tactical catastrophe as a primary target for neutralizing U.S. nuclear defenses. SIPRI data confirms a record-breaking military buildup in the Arctic for 2024 to 2025. If either pivot point falters, the shock waves will rip through the supply chain to Thailand almost instantly. The saga of Greenland is more than just a real estate deal. It is a masterstroke in the game to rule the next century. Thailand must prepare for a world where distance is being redefined. We must position ourselves to be more than just a passageway, but a vital link in the new chain stretching from the frozen Arctic to the equator. Recommended reading.